Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Vanilla Minecraft, episode number 7, I do believe, and yes, I am still flying around my island with the Elytra. In fact, I've done this so much in between episodes that I've already needed to mine out a bunch of ore that I had laying around in order to mend them up. So that's probably a good sign that we're going to need a decent XP farm here in the near future, though that's not going to be what we're focusing on yet today. Today we actually have one last thing necessary to catch me up to where I should be, realistically. So over the course of the last couple episodes, that's what we've been doing. We've been kind of catching me up. We built a fish farm so that we could get a little bit of mending. We went and raided the end so that we'd have the Elytra and shulker boxes. And for the most part, I think that pretty much covers us mechanically with new Minecraft features, at least the big ones that I care about. But there is still one big issue. And that's that a lot of builds here on my island, due to being somewhat neglected, have broken across the various versions that have come out recently, and I never really got around to fixing them. So we're going to do that today. We're going to fix everything up. That way everything on the island is working and functional and doing what it's meant to be doing, and then we can focus on new builds from here on out. Now this will also be really good, because it'll serve as a good excuse to show you guys all of the builds and stuff on the island that we haven't gotten to see yet, which I know quite a few of you have been asking for. So the first one that we're going to do is right down here. You've seen this cave before. It leads down to our bulk storage room, which is nothing special, just a bunch of chests. But these two caves right here lead to projects that need some updates. And down here is the first one we're going to be doing, which is my brewing room. Now, this is one of my favorite projects across my entire island, because it's just such an insane, overly complicated design. Yes, this entire room is for brewing purposes. So, I'll show you how it works once it's all fixed, but the general idea is that we'll fill up water bottles right here. Over here is general storage once the potions are all brewed. I never quite got around to filling these up as I intended to, but it's here. Back here is our potion brewing god, Olmec, who, after I haven't looked at him for quite a while, he looks really, really derpy right now. I'm not entirely sure why that is. We might need to give him a little bit of a facelift, because I think that, like, compared to Janice, for example, who we built a couple episodes ago, something about this guy looks a little bit off. We'll see about fixing him up. Over here is the selection panel for the ingredients for potions. Basically, you walk up to the ingredient that you want. Green indicates that it will be used in the potion. And yeah, then you just turn the system on and it'll start brewing away. And the ingredients fall down and do all kinds of cool stuff. Again, I will show you that once he's all fixed up. But, well, we need to fix him first. So let's get to it. Now, most of these changes were relatively simple and easy to get in place. For example, we needed to add blaze powder to our brewing stand, something that I had never done since that change first happened, and all that really took was a hopper and a chest. So, not a big deal there. We had to modify the timings a little bit to handle Dragon's Breath and the bottles left over from it, and I also had to add in an item elevator in place of an old one that no longer would work. All of that was simple enough until I got to adding in the Dragon's Breath. Now, adding new systems, or new ingredients rather, to the system is not too terrible until you get to connecting the redstone up on top. Now, each ingredient in my potion system, in order for it to function the way that I want it to, needed 2 individual lines leading to it, and that means that the redstone up here is an absolute atrocity and very, very hard to navigate. So it took a little while to sort out how to connect everything up without interfering with any other lines, but eventually we got there, and I think the result is okay. But there was still one other problem even after we finished that, and that's that where the potions eventually ended up was not accessible anymore. So previously I had all of the potions hidden behind a stair block in Olmec's face, and this worked because there was a bug in the game where you could click through a stair block in a very specific spot if it was a corner. Now, that no longer works, unfortunately, and it's going to be a recurring problem because I use that trick quite a lot, but the solution that I've come up with, at least one of the solutions, is to instead filter the items into a chest, and then filter from there into a dropper, and then put that dropper behind a stair or a slab. Now, it doesn't look perfect, but in this stone setting, where everything around it is just some type of stone, I don't think it looks too bad. Obviously, it stands out a little bit because of the black border, but for the most part, I think it's okay, and I think it's a decent solution, at least for some spots on the island. So with those changes in place, our brewing room is working once again, for the first time since Minecraft 1.9, which is a little embarrassing, but hey, I finally got around to it. So, as I said earlier, let's go ahead and do one quick brew, just to get a good idea of how this all works. So, first we come over here to fill up our water bottles. We actually probably should have had a full inventory when we did that. They would have automatically got thrown out, but we throw them in here, they automatically get pulled into the system and stored down below. Then we can choose what ingredients we want to use in our potion. Let's see, maybe we want some underwater breathing potions, and let's go ahead and extend them. So, that means that we're going to have a pufferfish and redstone. The nether wart is automatically added. And now we come back here to Olmec, who I did modify a bit. I think he looks a lot better now. Maybe a little bit too similar to Janice. I might tweak him a little bit more yet, but I think he looks better than he did before. And we'll step on one of these pressure plates next to him, and that will start brewing. And let's actually run back here really quick. And hopefully, yep, there go the ingredients for our potion falling down into the altar below. There's the redstone. And that is now down below brewing away. If we turn back to Olmec, one of his eyes has turned green to indicate that the system is currently running. His other eye will actually turn red if the system is running low on water bottles, just as a kind of an indicator light. Let's go ahead and turn this back off, just because we only want to brew one set right now. If we left him back on, basically once that potion was finished brewing, it would pull out and then dispense a next set of ingredients and start the process over again. But if we wait here for just a minute, let me go ahead and swap this back to nothing, just because I prefer to have it all red when I'm not brewing. So I heard one little kerchunk down there. I believe we're down to one ingredient left, that means. And once that's finished brewing, it's going to send the items over. They're going to come up here. Olmec is going to deliver them to us via vomit. And then they're going to get stored eventually in this dropper right here, and we can pull them out and put them wherever. There is another chest behind that dropper for bulk storage, so I can brew for a while, but it's... I do wish that we could have left this as a double chest. It's a little unfortunate, but there go our potions. And now, a couple more clicks, and here they come. Doot, doot, doot. And there they are. So there's the potions we just brewed. We can stick those in this chest down here. And yeah, there's our potion brewing system, finally functional again. We may come back down here in the near future to renovate the room a little bit more, just because I think it's a little bit too structured and clean at the moment. I kind of intended that when I first built it, to make it feel like it was a little bit better built than the rest of the island, because it's meant to be somewhat of a sacred place. But I think it's a little bit too clean, a little bit too structured. We'll worry about that later on, though. For right now, let's move on and fix something else. And that is going to be our netherwort farm. Now, my netherwort farm, right across the hallway here, is not very... I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it, personally. I kind of rushed the build because I really needed netherwort, but it's a little bland. I think the room just needs to be dressed up a bit and then it'll be okay. But it is also kind of broken at the moment. There's two main issues. One is that the pickup system for the netherwort, because there is an automatic pickup system, isn't particularly effective. Basically, it's a series of hoppers underneath this edge of soul sand, and the issue is that a lot of the netherwort just bounces over it and gets stuck on this stone right here. Now, that is not a big deal, because we need to replant anyway, but I think that we can solve that just by, instead of having hoppers underneath here, running a hopper minecart underneath this stone. And the other problem is, again, the storage situation. This was another place where I had a chest hidden behind a stair, and you'd kind of click into it to reach the contents. And I had to build this kind of weird-looking lava pillar thing in order to conceal it, and it doesn't work now anyway. So we're going to get rid of this, put something, hopefully something different in its place, just because I don't want this huge empty area, and also put the storage somewhere else, and hopefully in a concealed way. So let's go ahead and get to that and get this project out of the way as well. Alright, here is our netherwart farm. I assume it's working now. We'll give it a test in a second, which I haven't actually done yet, so I have no idea if this is going to work, but hopefully it does. And here is that derpy-looking pillar, which is still kind of derpy-looking. I don't really know what to do with this area, like I said earlier, so I don't know if I want to just build a better-looking pillar here, or if I want to make 2 pillars and have those going up so it's a little more balanced. Or maybe something completely different. Maybe we'll make a statue that's holding up the ceiling, or an obelisk of some kind, or like a work area that made it look like they were kind of processing the netherwart into something different. I don't really know. If you have any ideas for that, be sure to tell me, because I'm kind of struggling to decide what I really want to do with this area. But we can handle that later on. For right now, let's give this the old test and see how things work. So what's going to happen, this is all going to get swept off to the side, kind of like so. And there are going to be pieces that we cannot pick up. It's kind of an unfortunate side effect of this design. There's just areas that I cannot get under with a hopper minecart. And a bit of a bummer, like that down there, and I'm sure some fall into the lava each time too. But I'm not too fussed about that. Now, once the water retracts, which is taking far longer than is reasonable. I should probably shorten that timer. Why on earth? Oh, I remember now. I remember at one point, long ago, I noticed that this water was taking an extraordinarily long amount of time to go down, and I forgot to fix that. Okay, I'll take care of that as well. But there go our netherwart getting collected, except for that one, and those, and all of that, and some of that. Oh. Okay, well, that side's good. I apparently messed up right here. Well, okay, this stuff right here is unfortunately uncollectible, because, well, maybe I could make... Oh, no, I couldn't, because of... Over here I could, though. Okay, well, anyway, I'll touch that system up and make things a little bit better later on. All of the stuff that did get picked up should get filtered into a dropper right there. Yep, there it goes. And there's also 3 double chests of storage in the back that will hold all of the excess, so we can actually have more than 9 stacks here. But that is our netherwart farm. I'll handle replanting later on. And now we can move on to a completely different area, an area that you guys haven't seen at all yet, and that is my farming area. Now, I'm going to keep you guys with me just so you know where it's at. Let's grab some fireworks. It'll shorten the trip quite a lot compared to what it used to be. So, up here, there's my storage room. And if we fly right over this way and land right down here, this cave right here leads down to my farming area, as is that cave over there, but we'll come up from that direction. So, we come down here and... yeah, sure, let's go this way first. This leads down to my crop and sugarcane farms. And here is what those look like, which I think is pretty cool. Let's hop down here, actually. That upper entrance leads to this higher bridge. It just gives you kind of a neat look down into the place, but normally you'd walk all the way down the cave to get down here. So these areas are technically fully functional. They're as functional as they were when I first built them, but there's just certain things that are kind of lacking about them. Mostly the collection. So there's no automatic pickup with these. Let's actually harvest these. So the sugarcane farm is a super duper overcomplicated design. It basically pushes out blocks and makes the water kind of flow down, and then the blocks retract and the water resets itself. And I just kind of wanted a system for sugarcane that didn't look like it was automatic, but still was. So that's what this was all about. Massively overcomplicated and kind of inefficient, but it does work fairly well. And it also collects the sugarcane fairly well, or at least it used to. I don't remember ever once seeing sugarcane left on the block itself before. And it appears to be happening multiple times. That's interesting. 6 sugarcane left up here. That some update must have changed something with collision boxes or something, because that never used to happen at all. This used to happen, but I kind of left it this way intentionally because I didn't want to put full blocks there. Anyway, that aside, the vast majority of the sugarcane gets put right down here, which is kind of convenient. It means that we can easily pick all of this up with a hopper minecart. I just never got around to putting the system in. So I'm going to take care of that, and I'm also going to do a similar thing over here on my crop farm. So I'll show you guys how this works as well. If we step on this and look up there, you're going to see water start flowing down, and it's going to trickle its way down through a series of channels and kind of end up swiping all of the crops off to the end. Now, that's great, but again, we don't have any automatic pickup system. Now, that might be a little bit of a problem because quite a lot of items do get flung off the edge here, though because we have to manually replant... Ooh, voice. Excuse me. Because we have to manually replant anyway, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll try and put in an automatic collection system for this as well and just see how useful it really is. And I think I'm going to make a better storage room because I don't really have any good storage setup. I think the water here lasts too long as well. I am awful at timers, apparently. But right now, there's no decent storage down here. I literally just stick things in chests from time to time. But I think we can solve that today. So I'm going to build a kind of a hidden storage room somewhere. Not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet. And an auto collection system for both of these farms. And I'll be back with you guys once I'm done with that. Whew, that took way longer than I thought it was going to. But I think that I have the collection system in place, and I also did a couple extra little things as well. I brightened the area up, mostly our sugarcane farm, and hopefully it's not pitch black for you guys anymore. And I also tried to add a little bit of detail up here on the platform, just because it was a solid slab of stone brick before, which wasn't very interesting looking. Now, normally I'm not a big fan of this trick of putting stairs in the ground for detail, but that's normally because when people do it, they only put one or two at a time, and just having a perfect little rectangle cut out looks kind of strange. I think that when you put more of them together and make kind of a bigger cut through the terrain, it looks a little bit better. But we'll see if I still feel that way once I walk away from the project and come back here later on. Anyway, we have our collection system in place, so let's go ahead and harvest our sugarcane to see that one in action. It will hopefully work out okay. There are still some spots where the sugarcane can get stuck. For example, that's not going to get picked up now. And that one got there because I swapped out the stairs that were pushing it with full blocks, which for some reason tends to send it flying a bit further. But that was how I resolved the issue where the sugarcane was falling down onto itself. But as you can see, everything got picked up, other than the ones that get into the weird corners and don't move where they should. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. I'm not too fussed about it personally. So that's the sugarcane one, and we can just kind of activate that whenever we pass through now, and it'll collect and go down below. We'll take a look at that momentarily. But our crop farm is also set up, at least more or less, I'm hoping. I'm not entirely confident that this one is working as it should yet, but as you saw before, all of the crops that we have planted will get pushed down to the edge here, and a series of 4 minecarts will come up below once the water turns off, and try and pick up as much as they can. Now, one of them, this one at the edge of the farmland, right there, you could see that it stopped and it didn't really pick up much more. That is because that minecart got completely filled up just by that. And there's not a great solution to that. What I ended up doing was making it so that the minecarts, once they all empty out, they come back and try and pick up more. And that process will repeat until they don't pick up anything else. So that will technically solve that problem, though realistically, since we just harvested it, we're going to be out there replanting anyway, so we'll probably end up picking the stuff up ourselves. So kind of an unnecessary bit of work to make it cycle back and forth, but I think it's okay. Let's go and... Well, nah, we don't need to pick it up. The system will do it for us. So here's where all of that gets picked up and kind of transported to. It's just a little stone room, nothing special, though it was a nightmare to build down here because we're underneath the steps above and they go down each side and the space constraints were just awful. But I did get it working. So this side is 100% sugarcane, which is a little excessive, but I wanted the room to be kind of sectioned off for each farm and I wanted it symmetrical, so this will all fill up with sugarcane eventually, and I'll probably never use any of it, but it's the thought that counts. And over here is all crop stuff. So these first 6 double chests are for wheat. This one is for potatoes. These 2, I should say. These 2 are for carrots. And everything else will get filtered into these last 6. So that's where our seeds will go, poisonous potatoes, and if I were to ever harvest beetroot, well, that's where that would go as well. So, that is this area done, at least for now. I do kind of want to change some of the aesthetics in here a little bit, but we'll worry about that in the future. So, before we move on to the next thing that needs to get fixed, let's actually head this way and take care of, well, not necessarily take care of, but let's look at another farm that exists and, well, I don't really use it anymore. So, this is my melon and pumpkin farm, and it looks a little bit wonky. This is actually the very first thing. Why is there a floating melon? There's actually some stems missing as well. I'm guessing something glitched in here at some point. Anyway, as I was saying, this was actually the very first thing that I designed to put on this island. Back before I even came to the island itself, back before I had any idea what theme I was going with or anything, all I really knew is that I wanted all of my farms to have really weird, interesting designs. So this is what I came up with for melons and pumpkins at the time, and it's pretty terrible, to be honest. It used to work a lot better, I feel. I should probably break this before it messes up the water streams. Like I said, I think it used to work a lot better. Yay, I learned how to craft melon seeds. So, well, let's just harvest it and you'll see. So all of the things get broken and water comes and sweeps everything down, or at least it used to sweep a lot of it down. Now so much of it gets stuck up the top and you have to go and pick it up manually, which is not ideal, obviously. But, you know, I don't really harvest it anyway, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. We may be building a better one, a better functioning one at some point, but for right now I think this is okay. And we're probably going to be building a, like, industrial-grade pumpkin farm at some point for villager trading, though I'll probably do that up on the floating platform, so I don't know. We might build a better pumpkin and melon farm at some point here on the islands, but for right now, I'm not too worried about it. So, I figured I'd show you guys that, but there is something else down here that we need to go tend to. Has that seriously still not picked all of that up? Oh boy, I wonder if it even makes it before it starts despawning. Well, I'll look into that later on. For right now, let's head up this way to the last little area of my farming area. And this one's kind of weird. This is my cactus, cocoa bean, and vine farm. Basically, I had these 3 things that I needed farms for yet, and I had nowhere to put them. So I threw together this really weird-looking little room, and I don't know. It's kind of strange, because it didn't really... because I didn't really have a plan going into this one, it just ended up a little weird. I do like the cactus area, though. I need to find more excuses to use this style with, like, the backlit green terracotta in the background. I think that looks pretty cool. But other than that, the room is a little derpy looking. And this right here is what we need to fix. So, much like the other areas on my island, I was hiding a chest behind a stair, and we need to find a better way to conceal this. Now, with this one, I think what we're going to do is push the wall back a little bit and open it up with pistons and just have the double chest behind, because the cactus does pile up quite a lot, as you can see. I didn't realize that, yeah, we're actually completely filled up. And in fact, I think that one of these double chests back here, yeah, I'll have to transport some of these to somewhere else at some point. But first things first, let me take care of this, and I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. So, here's our wall. It looks a little weird, but it gets the job done. We walk up to these pressure plates, it opens up, and there's the chest with the cactus inside it. So, that's nice. It's pretty simple, but that's all it really needs to be. And until we do something a little more intricate with this room, I think that's just fine. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do down here yet. I think the only really weird thing is these kind of cocoa bean trees and probably the grass floor as well. So maybe we'll change those. Though, I guess I just realized that I never actually explained these trees to you either. Basically, I wanted to go with the pillar design for a cocoa bean farm, and if we step on this pressure plate, it'll break those all off, and I figured just putting leaves up top would make it feel a little more natural rather than just having these pillars of jungle wood. But, it looks a little weird down here in a cave, so maybe we'll do something a little different down here at some point. But for right now, it gets the job done, and That's good enough. So, let's head on up to the surface and over to the last thing that we really need to fix in order to catch our island up onto modern Minecraft. Heading out this way, we're going to end up on a little beach. I realize you guys probably haven't seen much of the surface of my island yet. This is something I threw in kind of briefly and didn't really do anything with. I have a few ideas for builds here and a rather expansive landscaping project that'll make it look a lot cooler, so hopefully we'll take care of that in the near future. But for right now, let's head up over here and find our way to my storage room. Now, my storage room isn't fully automated or anything. It doesn't need any advanced redstone work to get functional again. It's just chests. But the issue is that it was built a long, long time ago, and we've had quite a lot of additions to the game since then. And I've already expanded it pretty much to this limit from past versions of the game, and I just can't expand it any further. Thankfully, I was also kind of wasteful when I first laid it out, so we actually have a lot more space than it seems. So what I'm going to do is compress down the contents of these chests, and especially with the help of the shulker boxes, we should be able to get quite a few chests opened up, and have some designated for the newest blocks that I have yet to add, and maybe even get in a few spots for future blocks as well. So, I'm going to get to that, and I'll bring you guys back in once it's done. Alright, our storage room situation has been addressed, at least for the most part. Some of the chests are still a little bit messy, and I still need to work over my bulk storage down below, but the categories up here are in place, which was kind of the important thing. Every block in the game now has a spot somewhere in this storage room, and we even have 2 blank categories left open for future blocks as well. So, with that, I think we've fixed everything on the island. I think we've kind of caught up everything that was broken by my absence. And as a result, this episode is starting to get a little bit long. Now, that was also because we had a secondary purpose today. And that purpose was to show you guys everything on the island that you hadn't seen yet. With the exception of my animal pens, which we're going to take a look at right now. There's nothing to them really. They're just pits in the ground built into the hillside. But they do the trick, and you can hop in, do what you need to do, and then each one has a button somewhere that you can push and then hop out. And rather surprisingly, the animal's AI doesn't catch on fast enough for them to be able to hop out themselves. At least, I've never really seen it. I think the only time they've managed to do that on me was when I had the cow pen 100% packed full and one little baby got out, which he then proceeded to run just straight back in. Anyway, those are my animal pens, and with that, I think we've seen every major build here on my island. And the reason that we were doing that today is because I know a lot of you have been asking to see a full tour of my island here. Now, I've been reluctant to do that because I knew this episode was coming. I knew that we were going to see the majority of it in the near future. So my question to you guys now is, now that you've seen the majority of the island, now that you've seen all the major builds and for the most part know where everything is, do you still feel like a full detailed tour is necessary right now? Basically, I'm kind of leaning against it personally. I feel like, you guys probably know the way around the island enough and we can focus on new stuff, but maybe that's just because I'm so familiar with it myself. So do let me know. Let me know if you guys still feel like a tour is necessary, and I'm definitely not opposed to doing one in the future. But if you guys feel like you know where everything is, if you feel like you know your way around the island, then I will gladly move on and focus on new stuff purely from here on, at least until we get into the distant future and there's a lot of new people around and lots of new and exciting stuff to see. Then maybe we will do a full tour and revisit everything then. So be sure to let me know about that, but I think that we're done here for today, after I've kept you for quite a long time now. Thank you guys for hanging out all the way to the end of the episode. It's always awesome of you. And hopefully, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.